Simon, Max, obviously the first one I think is out there. Where's he at the moment?
Yeah, look, he's working through his process incredibly well. Obviously, everyone that knows Max knows how diligent he is. Today's an important day for that process, and we'll assess him post today. But we certainly won't take a risk. This isn't the time of year to take a risk with any of our players, so we need to make sure he's actually 100% ready to go. And obviously, today's a big step for where he's at. So we'll assess it post today. So it's hard to make a decision this morning until we get all the information. But as I said, it's just not one of those things you need to take a risk with. So we need to make sure he's 100% clear today.
What has he said to you at the moment?
He walks into the office every day and says, "Coach, I'll be right." But that's the mentality he has. He knows how important every day is in a mindset of getting better and healthy. And that we love that mindset about him, that he's prepared to push the boundaries and also try and get himself as healthy as he can, as quick as he can. And he's the ultimate professional in that space. Our responsibility is to make sure he steps through the process the right way. He is 100% clear, and that'll give us confidence for him to play. But up until that point, we need to make sure that he works through that process clearly.
Just the last one on him. So it was listed at 2 to 3 weeks, I think, initially. So it would be just the 1 week if he did play. In terms of the injury itself, you're not a doctor, obviously, but what are the specifics, in terms of at the moment and where it's at in the next few days, injury-wise?
Yeah, obviously it's a load management thing in terms of, it's similar to a sprained ankle in terms of how you deal with this type of injury. So, as I said, he's incredibly diligent. The first thing was to get the swelling out as quickly as we can, and knowing Max, he's done that incredibly well, and he's moving well. He's stepped through some processes around some drilling activities and some other movement activities and running. And today is about more his agility and his ability to train. So, as I said, if he's handling all that okay, we'll make a bigger decision later today. But if he's not in that space, we certainly won't push him at all.
So maybe more unlikely than likely at this point, would you say?
I can't say that this morning.
Yeah, fair enough. We'll move on. So Freo, the loss was probably the worst loss of the season, obviously, maybe 6 or so weeks ago. Is it a different Melbourne team now than that one, would you say?
I'd like to think so. There was certainly in the last month, we've been playing in a way that's highly competitive. That previous game against Fremantle in Alice Springs, we were uncompetitive in all elements of our game, and I'd like to think that we've changed a lot in that space. There's a real determination and competitiveness about our group at the moment, and that's what we'll train today. We want to be able to bring in the game that we've been playing in the recent times and really challenge ourselves against a really high quality opposition. We know the challenge that they present around the ball, around stoppage and clearance, and their ability to use the ball incredibly well. So they're well coached and they're well organised, and they're a tough challenge, and they're one of the better teams in the comp for a reason.
Will that loss be mentioned this week at all? Like, is there still a big space for a response and redemption, given how bad that loss was?
We're purely focused on what we've been doing in recent times in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We know if we can play in that way, in that manner, with that method, that it makes us highly competitive in the way we play. And that's something that we weren't able to deliver against Fremantle last time. So the process about how we go about our game is more important than thinking back about redemption. Redemption and words like that can't be used in a way if you don't have the right method. So it's about getting our process right and how we want to play, and the rest of it will take care of itself.
They clearly have 2 very strong rucks. As we know, would you look to go in the same direction with the way you played Essendon if Max doesn't get up?
Yeah, we'll have a look at that today. Post-game, everything was on the table for a whole variety of reasons that it is. We're playing Jackson and Darcy, a different ruck combination, and obviously we still don't know about Max at this point. So we'll have a bigger look at that later today. We know what we're coming up against, though. We've got 2 high-quality ruckmen that we're dealing with. It is one element of the game, and there's many other elements to the game that we need to be good at. So similar to last week, we'll plan for all that in terms of what we do, not only in the ruck, but also around the ball and in general play to see if we can get an advantage in other phases of the play. So we'll have a look at that post our decision on Max and see where it sits then.
Just after the Essendon win, a couple of players were interviewed. It was Judd McVie and Trent Rivers, and they sort of spoke about the fact that a lot of people outside the club weren't backing them to win that game, and there was a lot of noise in the media and all that sort of stuff, and that they loved that in a way. Is that, with this young group in particular, some of these young players, do you think they're driven by that doubt outside the four walls?
I think so. I think, whenever you've been a club where you've had some highly experienced players that have had a huge impact on our footy club, Christian Petrarca, Max Gawn, Angus Brayshaw, they've had a huge impact in setting up our footy club and driving our culture forward. And when you're missing those guys, it leaves a void for players to step through and take opportunity. And that's what we've seen in recent weeks, is the younger players have stepped up. They've grabbed the opportunity, and they want to show that the Melbourne Footy Club is here to stay, and it's here to continue its process of being a great footy club. And those guys are leading our footy club incredibly well and filling that void. And they want to show everyone that what they're capable of, and they're going about doing it the right way.
Just one on Judd McVie in particular. I think you've got the 9 coaches' votes. What are you seeing from him at the moment? And do you think at some point he can also move into the midfield, given how he plays?
Yeah, look, he's obviously still very young in his career, but his ability to win contests, his ability to use the ball, his ability to step in traffic, something that we really love about him. We give him a task most weeks, and the last few weeks he's evolved his game offensively again to take some real command in games. And there's no doubt in time we see him being able to step further up the ground and through our midfield, as has Trent Rivers. He's got a unique skill set, but in saying that, we need to continue to be patient with these guys, develop them the right way, and work their way into the midfield at the right time. So he's someone that we think's got enormous growth still in his game, and he's going to be an outstanding player for our club for a long time.
Just on the tackle, clearly we've seen all the talk around that. Nathan Buckley was on the radio earlier and said in terms of how a coach would coach the players, he would have no idea what to say to them. What's your stance on that from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, look, it's tough. Clearly the fabric of the game in relation to the tackle is being tested to the highest level right now. The incidents that we're seeing at the moment are challenging for everyone around what to coach, how to coach it. The thing that we have been coaching with our players for a long time now, probably 12 months and longer, is how we tackle the right way to mitigate risk of head injury. That is something that we have been working really hard on, because we know that concussion and head injury is a big part of the game, and they're going to continue to make it really challenging to try and protect the head, and we acknowledge that. So we're going to continue to train our players as best we can in a whole variety of situations. It's the tackle in a 360-degree game is difficult. Whether you're coming at speed from behind, you're coming from the front, you're coming from the side. So we work incredibly hard at trying to protect the head in all types of tackles, and clearly it's not going away. If you cause concussion in any sense, you're going to be in trouble. That's basically what they're saying right now. Now, the more guidelines we get around what that looks like from a tackling perspective, the easier it is. But we just got to keep coaching the variety of different tackles to help protect the head, and try not to have too many players to get suspended.
Would you like the AFL to come out and be even more clear with the rule, or do you think there is enough clarity around it?
I think the thing that we're really clear on at the moment is that if you cause concussion, you're going to get suspended. That's what's really clear. In terms of how you tackle, there's so many different types of tackles that the more clarity we can get, the better. But there are so many different types of situations within tackling that make it incredibly difficult. So we've got to take up the slack a little bit as coaches as well, and just continue to train our players in different scenarios to protect the head as best we can.
Just a couple more. Hesitancy has been mentioned with some players around being hesitant to tackle. Is that something you have to address with the players? Have you spoken to them in terms of them being at all hesitant to go in and tackle more?
No, I don't think so. We'll continue to just coach our players to tackle with intent, tackle with the right technique, and protect the head as best you can. There are going to be situations in games where a player might get that wrong, or an incident might occur. There are going to be situations that are out of your control for whatever reason, and there's 100 of them that might happen in a game. And we just got to try and mitigate the risk and lower the chances of a player getting suspended, but still coach the fabric of the game. You need to tackle. It's an important part of the game.
Just last one. So Freo, obviously it's a massive game, such a close competition. You've had pretty good success over there on that ground in particular. How big is this game? They're all 4 points, but is this one just that extra? Yeah,
look, it is. You come into a time of the year where all these games mean a lot. From a positioning perspective, and your ability to play finals and progress up the ladder as far as you can. And we know we're playing an incredibly strong footy club and a footy team this week. So that's a huge challenge for us to get on the road together, unite, connect, and come out and put out our best performance. Fremantle haven't seen our best, and it's time to put that on show.
Want to see more from the D's? And don't forget to subscribe up here.